Welcome to the Strong Casuals podcast. My name is Ben. I'm here with Anthony and the Cord King, Eric.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're here.
We are here.
I'm not even going to go through the spiel. I'm not even going to go through it.
You've seen us. You know us. You remember us.
Yeah, I'm not going to even go through it. We're going to talk about quite a few things, I think.
Yeah, there's actually been some stuff going on.
Yeah.
That's why we were gone. We were watching things.
Right. We had
to pack in the stuff.
We'll go back and we'll talk about some things. We're obviously not going to go through play-by-play anything or any of it, but we can talk about it, some high points, some things that we found interesting, our opinions on things, because opinions are like, what do they say?
Onions.
Butts.
Exactly. Everybody has one. So we're going to...
Not onions.
And some stink.
Hey,
onions.
I like that.
I like.
I mean, that's
like
part of
the
that.
and
think
many
that's
more
original.
at the end of Happy Birthday. You never expect it, and then it happens.
You don't.
And someone's like, "Grr, nailed it. And then it was really funny when we were and Mandy Moore. Remember? Because Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore.
Okay.
I don't know.
Was she at the event?
Yeah, she
I love
was.
Mandy.
Okay. Well, Britain's Strongest Man already happened a long time ago. What I have to say about Britain's Strongest Man is not a whole lot.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember if I watched the Britain's Strongest Man. It's been like literally.
I did. I don't really. Luke won.
Was it Europe's or Britain's?
Britain's.
It was Britain's. Okay, so yeah, Luke won.
Yep. Do we want to talk about Luke Stoltman?
He's
you know what?
Still performing.
I think we should talk about Luke Stoltman.
We can talk about Luke Stoltman.
Whatever. Okay, so if you listen to this podcast at all, you've probably... I say we get in the weeds now, boys.
We're fans of the Stoltman brothers. Luke Stoltman and Tom Stoltman, incredible human beings in the strongman space, in the in the strength space. and they're together, like their whole brand is together. And they're good people, and
I mean, they like when I started lifting weights like regularly, they were dudes that I like. They had a pretty good social media following. They seemed like two, cool dudes from Scotland.
Yeah,
both
monsters.
Of them. Yeah, I mean, Tom has his whole like autism support things. Luke seemed like an okay dude.
The most supportive human being to Tom, it seems like, besides obviously Tom's wife, but super supportive, and
they lost their mom early.
The whole aura between the men is just like wholesome, good people. That's like that's the vibe they put out. That's the energy they give.
Yeah. And then I don't know how long ago now. We're not on top of
the end of last year, was it something like that? Early January?
Yeah. So it came that Luke had been
Luke has a wife.
Had an affair.
Yeah, Luke has a wife, and
cushy.
From the sounds of it, they just had a baby, and then from the sounds of it, his wife had come out that he's been having an affair, and
with Mel Peacock.
Yeah, with Melissa Peacock,
who's also
woman.
a strong woman. Yeah,
and it's just It's just weird. It's obviously this happens and this is why personal relationships coming into the professional scene, it can affect your it can affect your brand.
Yeah, and I mean in a sport where like these guys don't get paid, like it's not like they sign a $1 million contract, multi-million-dollar contract with a team, and then it doesn't matter. Like you just get paid,
right?
Like they have to win competitions to get paid, and so their entire like existence financially is based on their brand. And they have the spicy thing in the Stoltman brothers, and they leave a legacy.
They have an incredible brand, and they make a lot of money from it. And it's not their winnings are not what's catering to their life, right?
And so I think that like they're. Yeah, it's going to hit your brand, but it seems like there's two camps, and there's one camp that is sort of like, well, separate the athlete from whatever. And they're like, whatever, like he doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah,
he's just an athlete.
He's a human in the end.
And then there's other people going, well, okay, but you've based basically your entire presence off being a family man and like caring all about and mental health and all this like important stuff, and then you kind of turn around and you do a pretty scumbaggy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, it's again, my opinion or my take on it is if this was like, we look at like the NFL, and you got like dudes doing stupid shit all the time.
Yes.
But guess what? They have a contract to play a sport they do play this sport. And like nobody has like every NFL player doesn't have their own brand. Like it doesn't. They don't have to exist outside the world of the field.
Yeah, and also besides like a few of those guys, like there's still 1 in 250, 300 guys in the NFL. Like in strongman, like the focus is the microscope is on you all the time. Everybody, we're invested in the human being that you are and what you put out and everything that Luke puts out was good, wholesome family energy. And then for this to happen is it's just shitty. It's not, it's not like, it's not weird. This happens to regular families all the time. It's just when it happens to a guy like Luke, or if it was a character, if somebody's putting out like, I don't know, asshole energy, you expect that guy. It's what it comes down to. He's the absolute last person you would want this to be happening with, because that's just not what anything that Luke showed us.
It's like the biggest opposite, like the largest dichotomy of who we thought you were and what you did. And I mean, I agree with that, but again, like I'm not going to join the camp that's just like, well, he's not perfect and like he don't like, and then they say things like that's his personal life. It's like, listen, dude, this is a sport where, like you just said, you are an individual.
Yeah.
And everything you do is focused on what you do. There's no teams.
Yeah.
It's what and if you're gonna put your life out there,
yes, then
okay, you've done it. Like, I mean, you put literally your life out on social media.
If you support a strongman, we like you said, we're a part of your life now. It's kind of like all your social media is investing in what you're doing from the home to the gym. Typically, some don't show much as home, but Luke does. Luke's a guy who's showing off his family a lot. Yeah. And you're like, God damn it. And then to have the affair with, this has nothing, I mean, Melissa was involved, but it's same kind of thing. It's like, I'm not necessarily invested in Melissa Peacock, so it's less of a hit to that for me.
Yeah.
But it's like, and now from the sounds of it, it's public. She had posted a picture with Luke.
Yeah, they posted it. Yeah.
So it's, it's whatever. It's shitty. And it also happened a little bit after, like, Tom and Luke split up their training last year, like middle of the year last year, something like that. Split coaches. Right. And Tom just got a second new coach. But yeah, it's weird. But so Luke is Britain's strongest man.
Yeah.
And it's fine. He's still putting out strongman performances, which, once again, before the nonsense that's going on, we would have been licking the guy's boots. I would have loved the result, and I just love it a little less now. But congratulations to Luke Stoltman.
Yeah.
But
whatever.
That's what's going on there. So that's why if we don't talk about Luke Stoltman, that's just what's going on in our heads the whole time.
It's kind of
a for 20 people who are listening, we just had to elaborate. Ben and I have just been via text just thrashing in our heads, so we had to get that out there. But there's been that event, but we just passed this past weekend was the Arnold's.
Yeah.
The Arnold Festival.
So I thought it's always a good show. Yeah. Because Arnold is, the Arnold Sports, whatever the convention doesn't even sound like. Before it's this, like, it's, the
festival is the right, that's why they call it a festival.
Right.
It's a festival. There's like 20 different events that are going on, a humongous expo floor with booths, I'm sure as far as you can see. One day we will go. It'll be a good time. We'll definitely eventually go.
It's really, it's not that far away.
It's close as hell to us.
It's
so like, there's no reason we shouldn't. But like some of the other things that I did get to see, I watched a little bit because it was right before Strongman. The arm lifting competition was right before that. Eric Rusain was in it.
Yep.
He got third in his division. There was some world records broken by some women. I didn't get to catch. It was like, 'cause I signed in for the Strongman, and it was the women were at the latter end of the event. So, but there was that going on. You had the world's strongest firefighter going on. Who Martins Lisi's just did some content with the world's strongest firefighters.
Yeah,
which was
I didn't watch it, but I saw
it was good. It was actually good.
I love everything Martins does.
I know, he's the man.
He would never cheat on his wife.
No, he wouldn't. Does he have a wife?
No,
I didn't think so. I think he's a single guy.
He had a girlfriend for a while.
Right. What's his camera guy? He would
remember when he got hit on a scooter. Yeah, he was riding a scooter and he got hit. He's okay.
He's the only person that is okay to get hit on a scooter, and he's like,
Well, these guys have so much freaking muscle; they just bounce.
Right. The blue book value of that car's gone down.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. After Martin's leases,
I think it was totaled. To be honest. Yeah. No. Yeah. I got to watch Eric Russane, what he posted on his socials about his lifts, and super great guy.
Yeah.
Like super modest. He's just like, I just took third. Like,
yeah. Like, you're like, oh, okay.
And like, he's like, well, I think about like the pinch grip deadlift, whatever that one official name is. Like he's doing like insane amounts of weight on that. And I'm like, okay, cool.
For this one, they just did like axles.
Yeah.
From the looks of it. I don't know if they did a pinch grip.
Yeah. Well, no, it was like was
it like a pinch bar? I
think it's, the Saxon, whatever it is.
Oh, was it a sack? Like a sack?
I don't know. It's the one that old Haugen always does. And he like gets some bajillion pounds on it.
It was pretty impressive. I mean, it's just cool that stuff like that is there, and it theoretically can get those niche sports, within the other niche sports, like even bigger.
Right.
To be a niche sport amongst niche sports is a thing.
Well, and like it's like Arnold's really spreading the love. I mean, because he doesn't seem opposed to bringing anything into the festival.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was arm wrestling next year.
I don't
think there was.
And Brian Shaw's bringing it into the Shaw Classic.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I think like once he sees like it get more popular like that, it's especially hopefully at the Shaw Classic they do it good.
They do it well.
Well, good.
Yeah. So as like stuff that we're concerned about, the strong women and strongman competition.
Yeah.
They're Friday and Saturday. Big. What's your overall take? Top down.
I thought it was really well. Everything is so. They're just once again they have their heavy breaks between each event because that's just what's supposed to be happening. But
it cooked.
It did.
Like, I mean, even if you were, this is a problem we've talked about in arm wrestling too, where like sometimes with fouls and all that kind of nonsense, like one card can take forever.
Yeah.
And if you were watching the live stream on YouTube for the Strongman Classic, like, they had to like move stuff in between. God, those were the real heroes.
Yeah.
I loved this. This is probably, I'm one of like 3 people that appreciated this, but the fact that they kept the camera on,
when
they showed all the things,
I like that.
There's some dude, I swear, I'm gonna find it on there. There is a dude when they're doing the overhead medley.
Yeah,
there was a dude. They had to keep on readjusting where they put the log, which this is the log.
Yeah,
the oak, and there's this just dude that like picks it up. And he's like just holding it, and it's heavy just alone.
Yeah,
and and he's just holding it for like minutes, and while they like move these pads around it, he's like walking around with it, and I'm like, damn.
The human forklift. They have to have that guy around.
I know, but it is cool. It is funny though because they're all jack dudes.
I know,
especially the Rogue Invitational. I feel like they just like employ you have to like you have to have like a minimum lift.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you don't bench 500, you can't help today.
I know. And it didn't seem that at OSG, they really, some of them could, some of them were like,
some of them, yes.
I'm very worried. Please be careful. Yeah.
Some of them were like, some of them had joined a CrossFit box 2 days ago and went out and bought some spandex. And but no, I mean,
I think
that was cool.
The stream is always good because Rogue is running it. Rogue's running the stream. So and they run, the Rogue Invitational. They just keep that camera on the whole time. And I think, once again, we talked to Nick Best about this. I get World's Strongest Man as a TV show. It can't be that way. But I think every event should be this way. I mean, Giants Live they pretty much do almost an identical thing. They have far more camera angles probably than the other events do. But
yeah. I mean, I would say it's still, especially for a free stream on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty awesome.
No, it's perfect. Like I said, I'm saying everybody should use Rogue. Like you let them be the stream.
I got
like it was.
Sure.
There was a couple of times I think that some audio cut out, but it was a flawless stream.
Yeah. No. I mean, I thought it like the coverage was great. I think they have good. They had good like announcers, MCs.
Yes, they had Mark Henry, former strongman, professional wrestler with the WWF. Now WWE. But yeah, no, I mean, and I forget the guy who was next to Mark the whole event, but that guy is at everything too. I forget that guy's name.
like, well, one of them is like he's like a normal announcer dude. Like
I think that may have been
whatever.
It may be him, but he's still a massive guy. He was as big as Mark Henry said.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's interesting that like what am I trying to say? Some of the guys announcing, I think it's a little bit interesting because some of the guys announcing like because it's such a small world, a lot of the guys, the commentators, they have like connections in with the guys.
Yeah.
So like it's really cool to listen to Terry Pritchett talk about things because he's done it.
Yeah.
And it's cool to hear like Big Laws talk about stuff. But like Laws is coaching some of those guys. You know, it's like
Laws had like 6 of the 10 they said or something like that.
I know. And I think that's fine. I just think that like, which again, if we're going to like get into a little bit more of the meatier part of this, which I think we should, but like, I think that it's a little, sometimes I think the commentator is going to be less critical and maybe he's not going to like critique. Well, I'm just saying the same thing. Like he's not going to critique an athlete who's his own athlete.
Right. If Mitch is sliding the timber carry, he's not going to say anything about it because it may or may not be his athlete.
If he locks out a stone with his head backwards.
Right. Right.
I mean, like it's not going to be whatever. And I think that like I understand that there's probably a camp that says, well, why would they do that anyway? Because it's like that's not necessarily why they're there, but I do think like it's an interesting dynamic. I think when you're watching the people that you're coaching, like you're not going to immediately be the first to be like, well, we stole Maxime's amazing run,
right?
And Mitch basically did the same thing, but we're not going to take it away. We
don't give it to Mitch, or we don't give it to Maxine, and Maxine tears his arm, tears his bicep during the thing. It's just weird. I don't know. Lawrence Chalet is an incredible commentator. Okay, taking nothing away, but you know what we have, or we're not really short of? Incredible commentators. We have a lot of them. Jerry is incredible. I mean, but where's Terry? I get he doesn't have a contract with SBD, I imagine. It's like he can do other shows. Terry Hollins. It's like literally even bring back Eddie. Eddie is always a great host. Like
Eddie, I have a feeling Eddie's a bit hard to control sometimes.
Right now, his Mariusz Pudzianowski fight just got confirmed.
Yeah, I saw
that. He's for sure just focusing hard now. But you can't, when Lawrence is coaching, 6 of those 10 finalists or whatever. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's just, and he's not changing any results. It's just there's a behind the scenes bias that's, I mean,
right,
for some people can come through if you hear it or not.
I mean, yeah. Right, let's go back to the beginning. So we open with the elephant bar deadlift.
So the strong women were doing so it was first 3 events.
Yeah.
On Friday, 3 events Saturday. Women go small break, men go small break, and then that's how. But the women set such a high bar all weekend.
Yeah.
And it was so freaking competitive the entire time.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Dude, I honestly liked watching the women far more than
way more. I had a much better time watching the women in all of their stuff. We had Jennifer Lyle coming in off of OSG, her first time at Arnold's, which was super cool.
It was sick to see her out there.
It really was. And her deadlift, she started at like I forget what the women finished out. What did the women finish out at?
I don't know, but I just said
it was something ridiculous for
Andrea Thompson is just burned into my head.
I know. No, and we going into that first deadlift. So the first event was max deadlift.
Yeah, and I mean I think that we all, as far as the women are concerned, I mean I think we all knew that Lucy was going to come in and lay down some stuff. Yeah,
it's like you immediately assume Lucy's just going to win max deadlift. She has the world record. She's coming in the latest with the heaviest set.
It's interesting to me though because she doesn't have. There are other women up there who seem to have better leverages. Like they seem to be better suited to get a wicked deadlift. But I don't know if she just. I don't know. She should be on the podcast. We'll ask her.
Yeah.
But like they impressed the hell out of me. Andrea Thompson just time and time again, just was blowing me out of the water.
42 years old. You just forget. I don't know why you forget, but then she shows up every time. You're like, geez, you're just doing the damn thing at 42 years old and
like doing well
every time. Like so strong for every event.
And super fun to watch.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, Lucy Underdown, Rebecca Roberts is always fun to watch.
Yes.
I know deadlifting isn't really her shindig as much, and that's fine. She's still strong as shit.
She performed well all weekend.
But then, like, so we watch the men. The men come up, they deadlift, everything's fine. Like, it sort of went the way that I expected.
Yeah, on
it to
paper,
go.
pretty much went exactly as I had thought as well.
I wasn't really like surprised by anything. What I was surprised by was like how much effort had been put into the 501 kilo deadlift, and then like Thor throws up, what was it, 1128 or whatever it was, 1124, and then he's like, okay, I need 15 minutes, and I'll come back and do 501. And you like seemed so sure, and like the way that 1120 whatever his last one moved, you're like.
No, yeah,
you're not doing this.
It didn't seem like that.
Like, I mean, I get that you want to.
Right.
But I really don't think that it's happening. And then he comes back up and, like, does his little ear pole thingy and then walks up and doesn't make it. And, like, I mean, I'm not hating on the guy because, dude, like, you just have those days.
Yeah.
Where, like, you don't show up. Like, Tom. I don't think Tom showed up on Friday at all.
Right. He talked about it in his little videos, Tom. Yeah, he had a terrible first day. And yeah, he just said he was in his head. I mean, which it was very apparent. I mean, it was super apparent.
Yeah, and but that happens.
Yeah, it does. You know what I did like about Half Thor, at least going for that 501, is like he's trying to perform for the crowd. He's trying to give people. Everybody wanted to see somebody attempt it.
Yeah,
and if anybody was going to do it, it's going to be Half Thor.
Well, yeah. I mean, I see. I see Mitch pulling 501, but I mean,
once like he's not giving it to me.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. I mean, I
think he could
agree.
too, and and it's like he'll say that all the time in his videos too. And once again, we all think that, but he's not attempting. So it's like, okay, well, somebody's got it.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I texted you, I was like comparing it to the like Tyson fight, where it was just like just everybody getting so worked up for this thing, and then it just like when it actually happens, you're like, oh. This
is one of those things where it's like, also, I would have just rather Stone to Shoulder should have just flipped with Max Dead. Stone to Shoulder start the event, and then Max Deadlift end, because also if you're gonna go for if there's a record breaking event during one of the events, we're just gonna bang the show out with it. Like it created a lot of hype and then didn't happen. And I get it, even if it was at the end of the show when it built up and didn't happen, it's still like, okay.
I think he would have been tanked by the end of it.
Oh, for sure. But as opposed to like the zero excitement you got from Stone to Shoulder at the end, there's just got to be like a group event or something. Like there just has
to be a head-to-head event.
It's got to be.
Because like, and we talked about this in every podcast we talk about Atlas Stones.
Yeah.
Because like at OSG, they always end, I mean, you end with Atlas Stones or whatever they call their Atlas Stones, but like it's because it's a head-to-head match. People get pumped into it. You're racing against another person. Yeah. Giants Live does it every time. It's always up against somebody. And then we end with Stone to Shoulder, and it's like,
which I like that event. Okay. I do like the event because it's different than anything else. It's hard for people, but you can't shut down the Arnold Festival with it.
Right.
With one guy on the shoulder failing, like,
I mean, even
almost
honestly,
dropping it on his head. You're like,
cool,
and we're out.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, even the frame or the timber carry would have been, it's something where we're like moving.
Yes.
Would have been better. Where they're just like, watch this thing. And I know it's iconic and I know whatever, but like, come on now. Like you're a show.
Right.
So make it interesting.
If it's going to be a static event, make it a massive lift or something. You know, it's got to be something that's not anything but Stone to Shoulder, literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
You chose the most mundane, not mundane, but just like
it's certainly not mundane.
And like,
but
I think part of it too, not to just like keep hating on Stone to Shoulder, but like,
I love Stone to Shoulder. Stone to Shoulder, I got your back. Okay.
Then I'll play the.
Yeah, you can play doubles.
devil's advocate. Like, I mean, people watching this don't know how to. They don't understand. They see two balls.
Yeah.
And and obviously one of them is bigger and stronger than them. Honestly, I thought the woman's stone to shoulder was way better because if you look at the size of
yes.
like the blonde that's not Mel Peacock.
Sam.
Yeah, Beliveau. Like when she was putting that thing on her shoulder, it's like
I know.
She's freaking it's the world.
Right.
And so that it's just like it looks impressive.
Yes.
But like when you got Half-Thor up there or these guys who are massive, like they look heavy. But like if you're sitting in the crowd and you've never lifted anything heavy before, like really heavy before, you're like, yeah, what? Okay.
I just don't know like if the heaviest stone should be a given for anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like it should be a struggle to get one rep if it's the heaviest.
Well, it
was. Then Austin Andrade came up there and he's like, hold my Corona or whatever, and he and he did 4 reps, and you're like, oh,
but
damn.
that's his jam.
I know, and I guess after watching Tom, fail his 3rd rep because he almost dropped it, and once again, Tom's also hoisting that way higher than most other people besides Half-Thor.
Yeah,
there's different things that go into that, but it's like that's his event, but it's also now other people are showing up with that event as well.
Loss made a good point during that though, because he was like, Tom is the Atlas Stone guy.
Yeah.
But when when you're doing Atlas Stones, traditionally you're not lifting it above your head.
Right.
You're lifting it and
your chest.
And Half-Thor's good at him too, just because of his height. But like you're only hoisting it to, like your belly and then up. And so it's a whole new world when you have to put it on your shoulder and
then balance it with hold it there with that one arm.
Right. Because from your chest up, that's a whole new ball game.
It is a whole new ball game.
Ball
game. Stone to shoulder is okay. You know what's a better that the rock press, like the natural rock press that they did in the medley.
Yeah,
that is good. That's good quality stuff right there.
Yeah, if you actually lock it out.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see because that's like not being necessarily practiced, and it's the wobbly shape makes everything a little more difficult and interesting too. I enjoy that.
I mean, shout out to our man James Jeffers calling out some rocky stuff.
Some rocky results in the rock press. Apparently, you were supposed to lock eyes with the guy for the call, like when you're pressing.
I don't know if that's a rule, but like
it's
like it's one of those. It's come on, man. You can't lock it out staring at the sky.
Yeah, and we're just gonna constantly try to like pick holes in Mitch's game because it's too strong as it is. So we're just if he's a guy who's asking nonstop questions, follow the guidelines if they're giving these guidelines, or it's just weird when that timber carry specifically with the sliding, past the thing. It's like
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got a little bit. I did some sleuthing, and I got a little bit of insight into the whole shindig,
which was a whole scroll.
I did some of my own. I do my own research. That's why I mainline Lysol. No, but never mind. Like, so okay, so they have this new rule, and in the rules meeting, they told the athletes that basically you have to drop the sled over the line and you can't push it. Now, my understanding is that the reason for that rule is that they don't want people like essentially getting it close and then just like pushing it.
Yeah, well, you can use momentum also.
Well, so that's the thing. Like, so, like, what does that mean? Does it mean like if you just drop it and it skids across, is that okay?
Yeah.
And obviously it's okay for Mitch Hooper because that's what he did. He did it last year too.
Yeah.
You drop it a little early and it skids away. Now, his defense when asked about this was, well, listen, there's a black line and then there's a foot and then there's a bar. And do you remember Inez last year bashed her face on the frame? Yeah. Because if you don't, you're going, dude.
Yeah.
And if when you stop, Like it's gonna stop, and if you don't stop early enough, you're gonna slam into the thing.
Yeah,
and so like the ruling was to prevent people from shoving across. That's not what Boudreaux did.
No,
if you watch Maxime's run, he drops and he falls.
Yeah,
there's no way that fall is what moved it across.
No.
It was going across.
Yeah, it was already across. From what I saw, I didn't even hear about this until after the fact that they DQ'd Maxime for it. And they just measured him. So instead of giving him his time, he gave him a distance. But that alone puts you at after the last person who actually finished it. Yeah.
And it was like under 8 seconds.
Yeah.
So I mean, he had a killer run. He did everything fine.
He had the second fastest run.
Sacrificed a bicep for it, which is also gnarly. But like his run should have counted. And what doesn't make sense to me is that like Hooper's like, everybody's critiquing me because I'm winning, which he said, and I'm like, okay, dude. Well,
yeah,
it's a show. And if you're gonna like, this is like the person, if you ever played board games, this is the person that min maxes the board game, and it's like, okay, cool, you're smart,
right? Yeah,
but is that the spirit of the game?
Right.
And so Maxime gets his whole run basically pulled. Like Mitch does the same thing and nobody bats an eye.
I know. It's if you're so down, like there just shouldn't be. Why are we asking questions? Because you're winning every competition, and now it's like now we definitely need to know. Like there shouldn't be any asterisks. You're that dominant, you can outperform everybody else because we've seen it 55,000 times at this point. It feels like. Yeah. It's like I know you can do the thing, so just do the damn thing.
Yeah, well,
stop like stretching the tiniest rule because it's like it shouldn't matter for you. That was not gonna. That drop wouldn't have changed his time. He should have just dropped it on the line. He was still gonna be there. Like it was like it's.
No, I agree.
It's just like a weird thing that it doesn't need to happen.
I mean, I think and I'm not like I mean the guy's obviously a phenom. No one's doubting that.
He's a freak.
But like there's. It goes back to the Stoltman brothers, like, leave a legacy. Like, I mean, when you look at guys like Big Z or you look at Brian Shaw, like, Brian Shaw was before Mitch, he was the scientist of strongman. I mean, he was the guy that, like, asked all the questions and made sure he was doing it right. But at the same time, he did the thing they told him to do.
Yeah.
Now, Mitch said, oh, well, Maxine's should have counted. And I would argue yours shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the rules, if the rule is it can't slide across the line, then if you're not going to count Maxime's, yours shouldn't have either. It should have been a distance.
Yeah.
Like it's not a game of like, well, everybody should have counted. It's a matter of, well, no, if you're going to be this rules hardy, then what? Like what?
Why is Maxine DQ'd and not? It's just something weird. It was literally if you watch both replays, they did the exact same thing, and even Maxine's wasn't necessarily the same thing because Maxine was falling after the drop. It was entirely weird.
But there's
who did it? Or who was sliding it? Like somebody dropped. I think it was one of the women or men dropped it like 3 times, and then like slid it, and they told him to like bring it back. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, but that's different. But that's like that is. Like they don't want you to push the thing like a sled.
Right, exactly.
You need to pick it up and move it.
Right.
But
I'm saying at the very least, the guy was like they made it a thing, and the guy was still trying to fix it even after he pushed it across the line. Then they discussed it. It was just like a whole thing. It's like, well, then if it's a whole thing during some of the runs, why is it not a thing during every run?
Right.
It's just weird.
Like Mitch doesn't get a get out of jail free card. Like you still got to do the thing.
And I know nobody's doing that on purpose. Mitch doesn't have somebody behind the scenes trying to pull strings for him. It's just weird that it's not happening. Plain and simple. I mean, it's like...
Yeah, but it's weird to me. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me that, like, he knew the rule. Like, we
right.
we put this guy on a box of being, like, you know, the guy who asks all the questions and knows all the rules. And then he knows the rules.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And then doesn't get called
That's what I'm saying. He's supposed to be the guy who asks all the questions.
I mean, it should have been like, and like we've had a lot of people who have agreed to interviews that we need to interview who have opinions about the way that these things are officiated and who's officiating what. It really is the same group of guys every time.
Yeah.
And that's like, I'm not, like shitting on any of those guys, but like, I do think that if we're gonna take this sport, if we're gonna take this to a place where it's not a sideshow, and we actually apply some rules to it, like they have to be enforced.
If you're gonna be the best in the business at what you do, there shouldn't be a single asterisk under your name. Why? There should never be any questions. You're already insanely dominant. We see it competition after competition.
Sure.
Just keep doing what you're fucking doing. I mean, just do it the right way and keep crushing, because you're not crushing it. So just do the thing.
Yeah.
It's like that straightforward. It's, and it's like a lot of his game is based upon, obviously being that guy who gets first or second in that event, so he can calculate and make that right move,
Yeah.
So what did we do? What was the last stone to shoulder when he did his 2 reps because that's what he needed? Or he needed 1.
He did 2.
And he did 2 because they asked him to it. And he was probably going to do 3, honestly, but it rolled off the mat or whatever. But
and it was the last event.
It was it was the very last thing, and it's like, I don't know. It's so anticlimactic at that event.
It's exactly what we were talking about while we were watching it, which is like now it's just like it's more fun to watch second, third, and fourth.
Because it's weird. It's like Mitch is in the back. He already knows he's gonna win. Like during that last event, he goes out there, get 1 rep. And it's like, so after he gets the 1 rep, there's just zero excitement to the thing. He doesn't show he enjoys it. Of course he enjoys it. But there's it's barely there. It's
No, I agreed. It's like the spark is lost from the bedroom.
And then after they do the whole speech during that thing, and then they do a 10-minute break, and then you get to the podium. And for people watching, I can't imagine that many people care to stay for podium. It's after that, you're just but it's just it's a weird time for the podium. They should almost just have the podium ready, right after that thing, to make the whole thing a whole thing. So we have to listen to Mitch's whole speech, then wait, then do a podium, and then another little speech. And you're like, that's enough.
Yeah, I mean it's like, I don't know, it's the strongman in of itself is not a fine-tuned machine,
right? And
it hasn't been. And maybe someday it will be, but it is still kind of like a ragtag sideshow kind of deal. And it sort of seems to me it's coming in and just decimating whatever. It's cool, man. I don't know, what do you, I don't know what
I know.
You have I understand you're really good at these things.
Yes.
And we, okay.
It's so apparent.
You're still getting all the trophies. You're still getting all the awards and accolades and the money. And that's fine. And I'm not hating on him because he's winning. I'm just I never had this when Big Z was on his run. I never had this thought in my head. When Brian Shaw was on his run, I never had this thought.
Well, that's the weird thing, too, is because we didn't even care remotely as close as we do now. So, we should have more admiration for these. We should feel... It's interesting because, when you go to the Arnold, the mega thread on Reddit, everybody who's watching, everybody in there, probably for the most part, is a strongman or somebody who maybe aspires to be. And a lot of those comments are people congratulating them because as a strongman performer, all you can do, it's incredibly impressive what these guys are doing. It's I imagine it's incredibly exciting and impressive just specifically on the weights and stuff that they're doing. And it is still from a fan's aspect, but we are really way more fans than that than we are strongmen. So it's we just come from a different place. Everybody loved the whole strongman weekend, and I did too. But once again, and a few people agree as well, when it's more competitive, like in Strongwoman, it's way more exciting. I mean, so much more exciting when strongmen since Mitch has come in has just been it's a scientific calculation every single time, and it's almost written on paper. Those when you do a mock setup for the thing, it's it's Mitch every damn time, and that's okay. But there's just no when Mitch is not as exciting of a performer, just from a charisma aspect, the stuff he puts up, we'd be in absolute awe of any human being doing what Mitch is doing. But for some reason, as fans, we're not. And that's not okay. And I don't know what needs to be done. But we talk about it all the time. And that's what it breaks down to.
I think we need to look at look at the structure of what we want this to be.
Yeah.
I think strongman needs to look at what it wants to be. Because if it's like, again, I mean, we've talked about this 1,000 times. I've also probably said that sentence 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But like,
we're broken records.
Like,
so broken.
Powerlifting is like all rules, no charisma.
Yes.
And like, like strongman has to fit its way in somewhere. But if we get to the point where all of the competitions, like we always have the same things every time, and like, which essentially we're getting to that point where things are really starting to sort of like narrow into, here's generally what's going to happen every competition, which from an athlete's perspective, like, okay, well, I can train for that because I know that. In fact, we talked about that a lot with Nadia Stowers. She was talking about how, competitions are going to have one of these things.
Yeah.
And so you can train for those things, and that's fine. But like, at what point are we going to get to a point where we don't have that sort of creative sideshow kind of vibe?
And it just becomes people.
Right, exactly. Because, not, to the 30 of you that listen to this, you should go on and listen to Dave Tate's podcast he did with Ryan Rhodes. Because it's fascinating to me, and he had a lot more insight than I did. And you can listen to him and know that we're not full of shit because he's saying the same things that we are. And like, basically, I think that like strongman needs to either double down on the fact that it's basically a sideshow.
Yeah.
Or like it's going to turn into, it's going to turn into like a different kind of powerlifting.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm okay with either. I don't care.
It's got to be something.
Because I'm still going to watch it.
Well, the interesting thing about powerlifting is, if we were just watching a powerlifting comp, and I'm not talking like a Dave Hoff Mr. 3K, that kind of meet is very exciting to watch. Whatever, WPO, that's very exciting. If you watch a regular powerlifting comp, there's almost no excitement unless you're at a high school and you have like invested interest in that thing.
Well, or if you powerlift, it's fun to watch.
Same thing, but you can make it exciting because if you watch the WPO, that shit's exciting. If you watched any of the cage over the weekend, the animal cage at Arnold's, that shit's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, like it can be exciting.
Yeah. Like, there's a huge fan. I mean, there's like people like racking on the cage and like
it reminds me of WAL almost.
Yeah.
It's a little like the cage brings like powerlifting to like WAL style, keeping everybody close, interested into exactly what's going on.
And I think that's like, but I mean that's still like the weightlifting, powerlifting vibe of things.
Yeah.
And like that's why people get behind it. And also just the weights that those people are throwing around. It's like, oh, well, that makes sense. And I also think like that's what makes, especially the animal cage, a thing to see is because a lot of these people, like powerlifting is a game of efficiency.
Yeah.
Whether you're on gear or not, like it's still a game of I need to weigh the least and lift the least. And so you got some people up there who like walk up there and they're like, "Dear Lord, you're like tiny," and then they pull some incredible weight.
Yeah.
Whereas like with strongman, it's like we do an elephant bar deadlift. It's just like, oh, you just look like a sideshow because you have Halfthor walking up there doing 1,100 pounds. We're like with like plate. And it's like, yeah, well, you're already a cartoon character.
We already knew you were going to do some freaky thing as you walked into the cage.
You're just sort of like satisfying our need for cartoon.
When you saw the little person go up there and rep out. Yeah. Squatted 300 and some pounds like 3 times. You're like, or no, I think was it 600?
I don't remember. I just saw the video of I think it was the same dude squatting Mitch.
Yeah, it was the same dude who squatted Mitch, but he was in the animal cage for 3 reps. It may have been like it was like 360 at the very least, and it was just like it's like and John Hack was in there over the weekend.
Of course he was.
Nadia was over the weekend. Yeah, it's
contractually.
Like right. I think 100% it was contractual.
Yeah,
but But it's like, yeah, I mean, that's and the animal cage is just a moment. Like those guys, like those things are just, you know, there was like, I think they had 10 things scheduled for the weekend, and it was just, that was it. Otherwise, it was just a booth. But like, we need to capture that with every, you know, thing like this. If you want, and it was lightning in a bottle at one point. We just need to get back to that thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that like, I think I might have already said this, and you kind of already said it too, but like the people that are watching the animal cage, the people who are watching WPO meets, like multiply meets where these guys are literally benching 800, 900 pounds, 1,000 pounds. And like,
it's sideshow shit though.
It is, but like the people that are watching that probably lift.
Probably.
Or they know somebody who lifts.
If you know WPO, yeah, I mean,
like
you probably lift. But I'm saying if that was on TV, people would stay and watch WPO.
Yeah, I mean, probably just based off the numbers you see.
Yeah, just that's all it is.
Because, I mean, you're looking at, like, multiple dudes squatting 1,200 pounds.
Yes.
And, I mean, like, you have to have the other thing I think is, this may be its entirely own subject that we can go off on sometime, but, like, I don't think the general public, and maybe this could be some good, like, content, I don't think the general public really understands or has, like, a context of, like, how heavy shit is.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you don't lift weights... So for that person, for the viewer who doesn't lift weights, like there has to be something else. Like if you go all the way back to like Sear and all these like the old strongman sort of like sideshow shit.
Yeah.
The stuff they were lifting were things that people had a reference point to knowing that were heavy. So like when you look at like the Shaw Classic, like you could have done a leg press with a standard leg press machine and put a ton of fucking plates on it and just run with it.
Yeah.
But people don't have context for how much those plates weigh. So put a car on it.
Right.
Like to like people that are strict lifters and they don't whatever, like power lifters are like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Just put blues and, you know, put reds on there and whatever. But like that's not what's going to get people to watch it.
Right.
You have to put something on there where people go, "Dear Lord."
Exactly. I mean, it's Aunt Gertrude doesn't understand when somebody's carrying a yoke, what even the hell that is. If you put two refrigerators, if you put her KitchenAids on the end of that yoke, she's gonna freak the hell out. She's like, I mean, my Donnie couldn't even move one of our refrigerators. I can't imagine carrying two on my back. Right. You know, it's like it really is. It's like the wagon wheel. Everybody knows what the hell a wagon wheel is. If you're Amish, we barely do now. But if we were...
It's the thing on the wagon. Or if you played Oregon Trail.
You know, the tire deadlift. You know, stuff like that. It's like, well, why do more people watch a tire deadlift than a regular deadlift? Because people know how much a tire weighs, you know, regularly, you know, relatively.
Right. Well, World's Strongest Man used to do that, as we know.
This is what I'm saying.
Like that's why, like, official strongman games, it wasn't just a yoke, it was a car.
Yes.
Or like... that's like Mr. Beast did that thing with Brian Shaw where Brian Shaw deadlifted a car.
Right, the Corvette.
And it's like that's reference point for people. So one of the reasons that I say listen to Ryan Rhodes' podcast with Dave Tate was because he talked about he has more insight into who's actually watching this stuff.
Oh, does he?
And like,
because who's Ryan Rhodes?
He's a strongman. I think he competed in Worlds 5 times or something. Okay. He's a strong dude. He's a cool dude. He runs a bunch of big strongman competitions. So now he's kind of like running things. He has a pacemaker.
Oh, wow.
And so he had like, seriously,
after
go listen.
After
Strongman? He's still training afterwards and he still competed afterwards. But go listen to the podcast. It's wild. He talks about like, he died like 6 times in one day and like his heart stopped and he whatever. But he was talking about like people that are actually watching this. And there's a huge constituent of like audience that's watching strongman strength competitions, which are like women from 35 to 45 years old.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And like, I'm not assuming that they're not lifting, but like if that between that and like any other Gen Pop viewer, like you need to have something in the competition that allows the audience member to connect with what's going on.
Yes.
And like the closer we get to a world where strongman is just using implements with more plates, instead of a car or a refrigerator or like was the old like the when they deadlifted they had safes on either side of the bar, like something that we have that people have context with. It's not
99 air fryers on each side.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
like she knows what an air fryer feels like.
Yes, dude.
It's the same thing with ads. In that same podcast, they talk about ads. Like all the ad revenue or all the ads that work with these things are trying to sell people stuff they either already have or don't want.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm not hating on Cerberus. They get into Cerberus a bit too. But like when we were at OSG, there's a Cerberus booth. I saw one athlete buy one thing, and then I think two other sponsored athletes came over and picked something up.
I don't know what Cerberus is, but exactly. That's a problem.
They're the guys. I mean, they made the sandbags, and they've got
that's
like,
right.
all
Okay,
that equipment. Their booth is right in front of ours.
Yes,
and like that's cool that you supply all that stuff, but like
Karen not buying sandbags.
Exactly. Like they're not. They don't. That's not what's going to bring people in.
This is like not the same, but like Core Sports, they advertise. Some weird thing specifically for arm wrestling.
Yeah.
But they have a coffee. Okay. People like, it's just even a simple thing like that. It's like people buy coffee. You don't have to be an arm wrestler to buy coffee.
And guess what? That coffee company is paying for that ad space.
Yes.
And so suddenly they have money.
Yes.
Right? Like there's like these like niched marketing into a niche sport is not going to inject anything in there.
Right.
So like I don't know. I think that like if I would really like to see strongman go away from more plates.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see more refrigerators.
Yes.
And I think that if we do that, I think if that happens, there's a better chance that people outside, businesses outside of the world will feel like it's necessary to invest in the sport. And then suddenly now you have money and you have TV shows and
it's like stuff. And at this on the same thing, it's like this whole we're invested in you. Reality TV is successful because these characters people are invested in now. Like it has everything around it. Certainly it's more or less a setting, but obviously strongman is the setting as well as the sport. But it's such an individual sport. You're still a person that we care about and we want to see emotion out of you. We want to see charisma out of you. We want to see character out of you. And
it's a show.
Yeah, it's a show. And Mitch on paper is a incredibly kind human. Lift heavy, be kind. He's a good father. He's a great husband. I understand that, but why? Like a baby face and a heel is what you call this in professional wrestling. The baby face is the fans love the babyface. He's the good guy. The heel is the villain.
Sure.
But the heel is always going to be more popular for the most part, just because that's just how it's always been. Yeah. Through comics, through Disney, through movie. Everybody loves a villain.
Arm wrestling.
Through arm wrestling. Unless they go real far over. Once you're too far over, then you're just hey, bro, chill, come back around.
Well, didn't
John Cena
just became
went. He's been a babyface for 22 years. Just went heel at the last pay-per-view that they had, Elimination Chamber. This is like, and people, it like blew up the internet.
Yeah,
like it did. Like you don't watch professional wrestling, but you know that happened.
I know.
It's like these are things like Mitch is an incredibly good guy, but that's not Mitch's. Maybe I'm completely fucking wrong, but I don't think Mitch's weights that he's putting up are getting people in seats.
I don't either.
I don't think that's
not a
dig.
Right. I completely agree with you. And I think I'm going to say what you just said. We're not hating on him.
No.
It's just that like again, this is like the person you play board games with that min-maxes the game, which that reference only goes out to anybody that ever plays. But it's like you're taking a sideshow and it's like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a better example. It's like, it's like the people that take high school sports too seriously.
Yeah. No, it's the person it's the person who takes gym class too seriously.
That's okay.
High school sports, you can get somewhere. Gym class, it's like
chill out, dude.
We don't even have a freaking lacrosse team. Why the f are you checking people?
Or it's like it's badminton, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on badminton, but
right.
I mean, I think there's a degree of that. I do think that like we can't fault the guy for basically just coming in and doing it better,
being the perfect specimen, and just doing the best. Like he's just.
But I think the and I'm not hating on him. I mean, the rules thing is a little weird. I think it's a little sketchy
at this point. After 23 straight podiums, it's now I'm going to start saying shit. Okay,
right
now if you're going to be weird, it's going to be weird. Okay,
yeah. We have earned that.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, I think that the onus or the things that need to change are on the side of the event, like the events and the people running them and the way that they're run and what events are part of it. Because I think that there was a guy once, I can't think of what his name is right now, but he was talking about like you design the show. Yeah. Like the showrunners decide what's going to happen. And like you'd also decide who gets in on the show.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that there's like people that get in shows because of reasons that are not their ability to lift things.
Yeah.
And I think that we've kind of created this like power family of like really strong social media people. And they're staying. And that doesn't mean that there are not competitors who are stronger and better, and could fill a role better, or could at least knock people out of some of these things. Like, like we need to include athletes that can knock, Hooper down a peg and one event. They don't have to win the show.
Yeah.
They just have to like have their thing they do really well at and make it into an actual competition.
Right. And I think, Lucas Hatton obviously did that over the weekend.
Yeah.
But it's like stuff like that. People like new young guys. Now he's not new to the sport, new to the big shows like this.
Well, and he's beat all of. I mean, they kept on saying, he's beat all of
everybody
those guys
but Mitch and Halfthor. He said,
which like I mean, but that worked. I think. In multiple ways, because it become this like it wasn't an underdog story, but it felt like it.
Well, that's what we're saying. It's like, okay, I only give a fuck about second place, at this point. And that's what it became. We were just watching Lucas, win his couple of events that he did. He won 2 events out of 6, which is incredible. Yeah. And he's the smallest guy out there. I mean, stature wise, he's way stouter than some, but
I mean, he's literally a dwarf.
Right, but it's like
I don't mean like small person.
No, but I mean, he does look like a Lord of the Rings dwarf. That is what he looks like. But
he took a vacation from Khazad-dûm to come lift some heavy stuff.
Right. He didn't mind. He stopped at Helm's Deep. Here he is. Arnold Festival. It's okay. And he crushed. He fucking crushed. But we need Nick Guardione was his first big event. And did great for a stage like that. Compared to what Nick has been seeing, I'm sure was just overwhelming. And him and Lucas are teammates, right?
Him and
or no, not Nick
Guardione and Austin trained together.
Austin Andrade, that's right.
Yeah.
But no, something needs to happen. You need, another cool thing so real quick. I'll just go through some few things in closing, and then you say your last things in closing, and then we'll talk a little bit about World's Strongest Man because that's the next thing. But yeah, I thought very cool that Lucas is breaking up the monotony for sure. So I'm very excited for what he is going to bring to the table in the grand scheme. Tom had an off weekend. This is also his first event with his new coach.
I think this is a fluke. I don't think it's a.
I also do too. People are saying that and this is Reddit, so say what you will. So it's like
people.
Somebody was like, "Oh, I saw after strongman event, I saw Tom's trainer was walking around with his friend, and he wasn't even talking to Tom. I just think it's a money grab, all this stuff." And people are like, "What the?" It's like, what are you talking about? I'm sure it was that guy's I don't know, who knows how long he's been there. The guy lives in Scotland or wherever or overseas, and it's like. He's probably enjoying the festival. Maybe Tom didn't want to be around him. Tom has family as well. It's like, relax first. Don't read too far into it, you fucking Reddit sleuths. But
I wouldn't even call them sleuths.
No. Sloths is what I meant to say.
Ooh.
Reddit sloths.
Sick move.
You hear that canalization, strongman rats?
Oh, my God.
But it was a great Arnold. Congratulations to Mitch. Congratulations to, I apologize, we didn't talk to... we should be talking more about the strongman, but there was controversy, so that's why we got a little in the weeds. But Inez Carrasquillo, who had won the Rogue Invitational, wins it at Arnold's, which is super cool. She's so amazing. It's freaky. It's really, really freaky. And but that's the thing. It's like she's not so dominant where it's like, and she brings everything to every event. Super charismatic. Super like, just puts herself out there. Like very much a people person from what you can see. Yeah. And congratulations to her. I'm trying to remember who else was on the podium after Inez, who was second and third.
I feel bad.
I know. I apologize.
Eric, cut this out.
Was it Andrea Thompson? Was cut this? Andrea Thompson, I think, was second or third. No. The Olga got
Inez,
second.
Angelica
got second.
Jardine got second. Aaron Murray got third. Gabby Dixon got fourth.
Are you sure that's the stats? I think that's inaccurate.
Okay.
I think that's actually not true, but it was still a great comp for the women. For the men, also another great comp. And once again, every comp is almost the exact same result for the podium for the men. Mitch won. Lucas.
But we have the power to change it.
Lucas took second, right?
Okay, Inez, you're right. It's Inez, and then Olga.
Yes.
And then Angelica.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then, and it was,
Olga's great, too.
Olga is great.
I loved all of her interviews. Obviously, English is not.
Right.
But it was just a whole lot of, I love you, and thank you, and I love you, and thank you, and I love you. And I was like, we love you, too.
She's the best. She very much reminds me of, like, a Kordiaka who, like, the smaller person in the comp. And then she just goes up and does things that I'm like, how in the hell?
No, I know.
Like her deadlift is insane, and it's just
then she was doing stone to shoulder. That's another one of those things where like that looked amazing because the stone is frickety fracking half her body.
And she did it so easy, and it was super impressive weekend for the women, super impressive weekend for the men. Just what do you say what you want to say, and then we'll talk World's Strongest Man for a moment.
I think that it's a great competition. I'm just tired of seeing the same shit every day.
I mean, this is literally.
I think there's a lot of people like us out there. I think there's a huge constituent of people who don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
And there's no way that we're going to
Thank God you guys don't right now. Okay.
I think that we love strength sports.
Yeah.
I love powerlifting, but nobody watches powerlifting.
Right.
Like this is supposed to be fun strength sports. And doesn't mean we don't have to take it seriously because they take it seriously.
Yeah.
But it does mean that I think we kind of have to accept who we are. Like the fact, I like lifting weights, but there's no way I'm not going to be a world-class lifter. And I know that.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to accept where I'm at and I enjoy what I'm doing.
Yes.
And I think that strongman as a whole needs to look at your roots, dude. Look back in late 70s and early 80s where you're doing crazy stuff. Yeah, people got hurt.
Yeah.
And that's not great.
Right.
But this is where I think that I just think competitions like the Shaw Classic are doing it right. We still need cars. We still need these things because that's what people want to see.
Yeah.
They don't just want to see essentially a bunch of balls that look like they're the same weight.
Yeah.
And someone put it on their shoulder. Yeah, okay, that looks really cool.
Right.
But nobody knows how heavy that freaking thing is. Yeah. And you can call it 250 pounds. You can call it 300 pounds. But people don't know what that is.
Yeah.
They don't know how much that weighs.
What they see probably, it's at this point, it's Mitch is walking in, he's clocking in and then cashing a check. Every event.
And we're giving all of, and these athletes are expecting all of this stuff and money.
Yeah.
And it's okay, but A, we don't have that.
Yeah.
And B, if we're funneling all our money into 3 athletes and some companies that make Atlas stones.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, that's not, but like, I don't know. I think things need to change. And I think what needs to happen is strongman needs to accept what it is.
Yeah.
And be like, we need to keep doing wild stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. And guess what? When you do that wild stuff, like you can't, like you can train as well as you can.
Yeah.
I think that like, I mean, I'll rant forever, so I'll cut this short. But like, essentially, I think we need to, number one, focus on strong women.
Yeah.
Because I think the women have way more potential,
or especially right now,
than the men do.
Yes.
Because the men it's a TV show from the 2000s where it's the same episode every week. It's just different things.
It's super powerlifting at this point,
and it's getting old.
It is.
Watching the women grow and put up crazy numbers and do wild stuff is amazing, and I think that we need to invest in them.
Yeah.
Two, I think we need to. I think we need new events.
Yes.
And I think those events those events need to be undercover.
I think so too.
Until like 2 days before a competition.
Right.
And like I think that's fine, and then I think we need rules that are going to be enforced.
Yeah.
And I think if we do that and we can get some more like wild stuff, that we can get more people interested. And all you need is like, I'll leave on a positive note.
Yeah.
Nike has their own power bar.
Oh, do they now?
And so like, I know that seems like, I'm not saying Nike's great. I mean, Nike's terrible for all its own reasons, but you've got one of the big names coming in and saying, hey, look at strength sports.
Well, they represent in the Olympics, I believe. So like, so we have, suits with Nike. So I'm sure they've been involved in a while, but this is it's the first time they put out a bar.
Well, and it's just cool that like it's like accessible to people,
right?
And they know, and people know Nike. So I mean, they know like, and like Reebok got caught up in CrossFit BS, so they're dead to me. But
well, that's what I just don't. You don't want strongman to just be juiced up CrossFit. It's like, that's not what strongman.
But that's the thing. CrossFit's juiced up too.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. CrossFit is juiced up powerlifting in activewear, and then strongman is becoming juiced up CrossFit, and it's like, I don't ever want it to be that.
Like,
they need to be all different, is what I'm trying to say. Strongman is becoming too legitimate in the aspect of that.
Yeah,
we don't want our strength sports to become too professional to the point where it becomes.
Well, those already exist.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, powerlifting already exists.
Yes.
And it has, and it will whatever. Like, we don't need that.
Yeah.
I could do an entire episode where I rant about CrossFit, but like, I mean,
we don't have that time.
No, but
I would do the same.
I guess what I'm saying is that like, I want to see stuff change, and I want it to, because I'm tired of watching the same thing over again.
Because in the end, World's Strongest Man is coming up in March. It's already that close, which is pretty crazy. Bryce Johnson, this is going to be his first World's Strongest Man. Do you see he got?
Yes, I do want to talk about that. Though one thing I just want to, in the amateurs, the Arnold amateurs,
yes,
Sam
Sulek won, right?
Sam Sulek did.
A different Sam.
Sam Sukup.
Oh, Sam Sukup.
In the Arnold, or he podiumed in the amateurs.
Did he?
So it was cool to see him.
That actually is cool.
Or Seth Sukup.
That's what it is. I'm like, what?
He podiumed in the amateurs. So we saw him at OSG. I just wanted to like, on the 1 in 4 million chance he listens to this.
Right.
Props, dude.
And props to Sam Sulek on his IFBB Pro card.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. We can talk about Sam Sulek an entire day. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Good job, Sam.
Cool, Sam.
Quit the trend and you'll survive longer.
No more Reese's Puffs.
Or chocolate milk.
But we'll get more into strongman. I mean, it's been a while. We needed to get out everything that had been building up for a long time. But
now a bunch of all their competitions. So Worlds should be good. The crew is relatively expected.
Yeah,
we got 25 and not 30. And I think the lineup thus far, or the lineup is pretty much what we expected, I think. But it is cool, to see Bryce Johnson in there.
Yeah,
especially because he's a dairy boy.
I know. It'll be interesting. Well, we'll see you guys all on the internet, and we can follow that on the internet.
Yeah,
you guys can watch the scores update with us right online.
Refresh the page. But
thanks for listening to some strongman stuff, guys. This has been the strong casuals. If you're gripping, we're talking.